the Warlock's dungeon. I am Stingy Jack, the pumpkin-headed killer.
And I'm Scary Elizabeth!
Jim.
Welcome to the newest episode. Tonight's fright feature is called The Devil's Milky Toast. So sit back, get yourself a nice big plate of cream chip beef on toast, and feel the terror of the devil's milky toast. Enjoy, boils and ghouls.
And cut.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
I don't
Thing
know.
is so itchy.
I could never get used to that. We're cut. Ooh. Makeup.
I'm still itchy from that.
Greetings, one and all. Welcome to the Gory days, the past, present, and future of horror. I am your host, Chris Seaver, and with me on this magical, mystical, evil journey.
Carrie Elizabeth.
Chris Tansky.
Yes. So basically, we are the co-hosts of a horror host show called The Warlock's Dungeon. And this is the set that you see. We're very cheap.
Work in progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're using the horror host thing as our YouTube show. You get it, folks. You get it. So anytime,
concept.
Yeah. Anytime the movie is on, going to break, what have you, this, that, and the other thing, we use the equipment to give you our memories and
Yes.
connections and our thoughts on the horror genre. So
Our favorite genre.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
By far.
For sure. So, why don't we dive in?
Let's do it.
Why don't we get thick with the horror genre?
I think what most people want to know is what are some of our favorites? Because then you get the just sense of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to get right to the thick of it,
Or do we want to talk about why we are so
Yes.
Oh. That would be a good start.
Yeah, you don't want to make them come.
I don't want to bury the
bro.
lead. I apologize, people at home. They were probably getting ready to write it down.
Yeah, you got to get that. What is that called? What do women enjoy sometimes? Carrie, is that
SpaghettiOs.
foreplay?
Oh no, foreplay.
Yeah, a bygone experiment.
Just women. Guys enjoy it too.
Do they?
No.
I do. That guy
Those
doesn't.
days are long gone for me.
The guy who handles the boom mic.
Yeah.
You're a pervert. You are a pervert, sir.
Henry.
I know.
You scallywag.
We're not even going to talk about what
Why is he
happened at the
like
party last week.
Oh man.
Office parties.
Oh. Isn't there a movement going on, Henry? How could you?
A bowel movement.
That's right. For me, anyway.
Oh, I still got that latex.
All right. So
Might be
Carrie was right. Let's just talk about what got us into the whole horror thing. Why did we gravitate towards it? What makes it so special that it's still sort of attached to our genitalia today?
Oh.
It's deep in there.
Mm-hmm.
For me
Right in the
anyways. I don't know
crevices.
about you guys.
Crevasse.
Yes.
In the crevasse. So who wants to go first? Who wants to take us down memory lane?
Oh, I see what you did.
Well, I have memories, so why don't I take you down memory lane?
Yes.
That's how it
Yes.
starts.
The
Yeah.
one with the memories takes us down the memory lane.
You know, I don't necessarily know where my love from it came, but I do know that when I was about 2 years old, maybe 3, I saw a creep show for the first time with my older cousins. And I have a vivid memory of being equally scared, but just like excited. And ever since then, I would try to watch horror movies whenever I could. If my parents were watching one, I would try to creep down the stairs and like look into the living room and see what they were watching. I was very drawn to dark things, blood, which is going to sound weird, but maybe not to you guys. I was always drawn to blood and scary creepiness. And Halloween. I was really into Halloween as a kid, and I would go all out. The holiday. Yes, I should specify. Not the movie, but the holiday. I would go all out, and I wanted to live Halloween. So I would watch as many horror movies as I could at a young age to try to live Halloween.
Dusty, can I get a Pepsi? Dusty, you guys thirsty?
So yeah.
Crafts table.
So yeah, I think that's where my love from it came, was just that early exposure to it at a young age, and instead of being freaked out by it, I latched onto it and was excited by it, and it just grew.
Totally
Wow, we've been filming way too long. It's been a long day of filming. Yes.
How about you?
I think we're gonna all have kind of similar stories.
Does yours start with Creepshow?
No.
Oh, because mine does.
Does it?
Really? No, mine's Halloween, but I mean, it all kind of started from my dad, because he was heavy into the Universal Monsters growing up, making the Aurora model kits. So just when I was born, that here's somebody I could bring into the fold, kind of, so to speak. But he still didn't let me watch horror movies right away. But I vividly remember his mom and his brothers coming over to watch Halloween, and I wasn't allowed in the room, so I had to be in the dining room, and I just kept doing the inching into the room, just peering around the corner, and then I think it was around 82 where he just was like, I think he can handle it. And they never bothered me. I never really had nightmares. Mm-hmm. He took me to see Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 8 in the theaters. And he just probably sensed that I was cool to see these. And look how I turned out.
How old were you in 82?
I was
6.
6? Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 when you got the okay to watch the horror movies?
It was he was cool with it because he saw these movies when he was a kid. Not these movies, but horror films. I mean, obviously they got a little bit more violent as time went on, but yeah.
Yes, a little bit more gory.
And now, 35, 40 years later, it's part of my career. It's part of who I am, what I collect, what I watch, and yeah, the rest is history, as they say. Do they say that? I don't. What about you?
You guys took it all.
No. All right. Moving on.
Well, that's it. So, favorites.
We're going to commercial.
Similar to Carrie, the person, not the movie. Recollection of something spooky, scary, creepy was Creepshow, and I was at my grandparents' house, my Grandma Bowker, and it was on, and it was during the I Want My Cake scene, but zombified Want My Cake. So him coming out of the grave, freaking out Aunt Bedelia. I remember flipping my wig and like running downstairs and just like, oh my goodness, what is this? But then creeping back up and sort of watching it through the
fingers.
Like banisters?
Yeah, the banisters down the stairs going up towards the living room in my grandma's house and just peeking through those, watching that. But then it really wasn't until, because like I think, like I would assume like Tansky, you were also a Star Wars kid.
Yep.
I was a Star Wars kid. I was a, He-Man loving, fantasy action, fun time Star Wars kid. You loved He-Man as well, Carrie.
I loved He-Man, yeah.
So it really wasn't until 84, and I was 7 years old, and my mom took me to see Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
It was my mom and my uncles, because they were sort of like, like the people that I didn't live with my mom. My dad had split, so my great-grandparents basically raised me. So I lived with my great-grandparents and my great-aunt, but my mom and my grandmother and other family members were all around the same neighborhood. We all sort of lived next to each other. My mom was like really young, so she wasn't raising me. But she was like a cool buddy, you know? Right. So the grandparents would be like, you ain't watching this stuff, you know? And the mom and the uncles were like,
son.
Yeah,
More 12 son.
Come on, let's go, you know, like we're all doing this, you know. And they would tell me like how things were made and that it was all special effects and whatnot. So I was 7, again, already like fully drenched in fun fantasy action, you know, fun time stuff, Saturday morning magic and Star Wars and everything. But Nightmare on Elm Street really like set me on the path of like, man, I want to watch. I was terrified, but I wanted more. I wanted to figure out why, and I liked it and what was cool about it, and it was that movie. I've talked about it many times, but it was that movie that made me want to be a filmmaker. Again, why it wasn't Star Wars, any of the crazy awesome stuff we had seen previously. Because I didn't want to scare anybody. I didn't even think back then I could scare somebody. I was more like thinking about doing the effects and the monsters and whatnot, but being funny. Because also at the time I was exposed to Monty Python because of them. So I was more like, this is funny stuff, but I also want to have monsters and stuff like that.
Funny monsters.
So, you know, I was like, ooh, that Christmas I got a video camera. I didn't get the family got a video camera, but I took it and started making backyard monster funny movies and all that good stuff. But really, that was after that, I was like, anytime we'd go to the video store, and back then, we could rent anything that we wanted to. It wasn't even an issue. We could go to the movies and not even have an issue, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So anytime I was with my mom and uncles, we were renting the good stuff. You know, I rented some awesome stuff too, living at home with the grandparents and my aunt, because my aunt was also into science fiction, all that stuff. So we had fun that way, but like the scary movies was always my mom and uncles. Until I got a certain age and I would just go down to Video Connection and just do it myself. But we also had HBO in the house. Because of an uncle that stayed in the house for a little while, and he had ordered it, and then when he left, it stayed in the house. So we had HBO, and HBO was like, "Ooh, you're diving into some not only horror, but you're seeing the sex comedies and all that stuff."
Some hard bodies.
That's where I got all porkied out. I loved Porky's back then. I was like, "Woo, boob bush and butt steak." But yeah, I mean, I would say for sure Nightmare on Elm Street that sort of set me on that. I got to seek this stuff out, and I don't even know why it appealed to me, and in a way, I don't think any horror fan can 100% pinpoint why it appeals to them. Other than the...
But it's almost like it should concern people. Why?
Right. Well, it's funny, too, because that was the first movie you were allowed to see, right? It was your mom took you to it. That Nightmare on Elm Street was the first horror movie my parents actually let me watch. And I remember I was 10 years old, and it was a big conversation.
I mean, I could see, like, Monster Squad being this, like, kind of gateway, but, like,
Nightmare
on Elm Street's pretty brutal.
Yeah. And I had seen Monster Squad, but, like, the first, like, real horror movie where I actually had to, like, beg my parents. So I'm like, please, I had my little friend over, and I'm like, please, can we watch this? And we had to get permission from his parents and my parents, and they let us watch it at home, and...
Like, I feel like I saw that before I saw Jaws.
I remember being more shocked because they said fuck than... I know, I was like, whoa! Like, some of the words that they used that, like, I was just in love with Freddy, and yeah.
Yeah, Freddy was definitely the first, like, horror icon type dude.
Well, where they put him out there as a pop culture.
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah, but he was the, like, even before I fell in love with Jason and later Michael and everything, Freddy was the guy that I was having nightmares about all the time, but still, like, loved. I wanted to see more. I didn't see any more nightmare films in theater until 4 came out. So any other time I saw, like when I saw 2 and 3, it was because of my friend down the street. His father. These were the Sarahs. Their last name was Sarah. Nick Sarah, Jennifer Sarah. Jennifer Sarah was my Winnie Cooper.
Oh.
But
Nick Sarah.
but their father was so cool, and it was almost like the hub of the neighborhood as far as kids were concerned would go to the Sarah's house because they were renting the good stuff. So we saw Freddy's Revenge. We saw
you got that Freddy's Revenge.
Yeah. Dream Warriors was a huge deal.
Also
RoboCop. There, we saw it there for the first time. With all of it when it started to hit VHS. And Nick's older brother, Doug, was the huge horror fan. So up in his room, he had like horror posters and all sorts of cool, like he had the albums.
Yes.
Yeah, man, he was everywhere. So like it was terrifying, but it was such a thrill that we wanted to see more from Freddy, even though I knew coming home from the Sarahs that night, forget about it. I was like,
what was it?
In my bed, you know, like, and I remember vividly that I would wake up in the middle of the night, and my bed was, say my bed's here, and I'm laying down. Right in front of me, down the way a little bit, was a big mirror that was right over my dresser. So I would wake up, and I'd look, and I always saw Freddy, like, in the mirror, like, waving at me. And this is my, childish friggin' half-asleep mind seeing Freddy, and I would flip. I would, like, I'd get under the bed and everything, and I'd hear my aunt, "Stop it, Chris!" Stop. Why are they always showing you those movies? But Freddy definitely was, like, the face of my... horror-loving, scared thing back then. Okay. Until I saw some of the others, and
Mine was Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that, but because that's a film that scared me because I had a white door, so when it was open just a crack, I just pictured his face. Yeah. So
good.
It took me years before I finally saw that from start to finish.
So why do you think it like stuck with us? What for you guys? What was it about? Again, I think
the
every
$1 million. Why do
every
these
horror
things?
fan.
Why 35 years later are we?
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna go meet Robert Englund. Why do we still? Oh, there's a new Freddy Krueger toy I have to get. Like, why? Why?
My parents actually asked our family pediatrician
if it was okay
about my interest because I would catch something on TV, or like I said, I would sneak down to try to watch a horror movie, and there were times where they caught me. And I always had like an opposite reaction. So if something on TV was scary, I would laugh. And they actually asked my pediatrician, like, is this normal? She sees something scary or sad or gory, and she like laughs. She's like she's enjoying it. And he said, I wouldn't be concerned. If
today
that's the
it'd
only
be a different
thing.
story.
Oh yeah, today I'd be getting mental health
time.
counseling and be on medication, and they'd be analyzing every gory picture that I drew, which I did.
They'd like hold up a picture and you're laughing at it. Puppies and you're
so
like,
I don't know. I think there was just something like inherent in me at a young age that really thrived on that stuff. And then as I got older, it just kind of became my thing. And I was kind of an outcast, and I had friends that were into that stuff too, and it just became a part of our sleepovers and our identities.
I didn't have those friends. Damn it.
And it was kind of like we try to like one up, like we talk. What's the worst movie we can rent? What's the scariest movie we can rent?
I heard
And
about this
actually-
Faces of Death.
Oh,
You guys hear about
That's
this
a whole
one?
other. We'll talk Face of the Death sometime, but I went through a really dark phase as an adolescent. But I remember my friend's mom saying, "You guys need to rent The Entity," and I was about 13 years old. Have you guys seen The Entity?
No.
So
But I know it.
it's
If I have, it's
Is that the one with Barbara Hershey?
Yeah. It's funny because I don't
Yeah.
even like. I'm one of
Yeah.
those people. I don't pay attention to like who's in the movie. I know the movie, but I'm like, and there was it was so graphic. It's this woman that like repeatedly gets raped by a ghost, a poltergeist.
Ghost rape.
Yeah, and so we were like, yes, this is like crazy.
Yes.
This is scary. Like
That wasn't
I
like the
don't-
birthday party movie.
no, but it was like terrifying. And then ever since then, we would try to find like the most obscure or scary or screwed up horror movies
You
we
tried
could
one
find.
up at each time.
Yeah, we're like, I don't know if you could
Until
get
one of
past
you
the
finally got raped by a ghost.
poltergeist rape. I mean, that was pretty. I mean, that has
Yeah.
been burned into my memory.
Crazy.
20 years later, 25 years
Stood a
later.
turn.
Oof. Yeah. Always does
So
with me.
You don't know? You do, so-
No, I
Always
haven't had the
does.
pleasure.
If there's any psychologists out there that are watching, feel free to
Yeah, drop us a line.
drop some comments. Let us
Drop
know
some
what
deuce.
you think about what's going on in my psyche.
Memories.
What's that?
Henry? Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Alrighty?
No.
Ooh! Are you kids terrified?
You should be.
I know I am, right, Jim? Well, we have to take a break from the devil's milky toast. But we'll be right back, children, to scare you some more.
And cut.
Ah.
All
Yeah, I
right.
just had because my hair's probably.
Speaking of taking a break,
Close on
folks,
here.
we gotta take a break real quick. But we'll be back with the gory days right after these genitals.
Now that I have your attention, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Trickster.
What was that film you were watching?
Death, death, death.
Death, death, death.
Part 2.
Oh, Lord. Michael's seen it,
Go for it, man.
done it, played it,
Look, I've played them all.
and just when he thought he'd die of boredom,
Brain scan, the ultimate experience in interactive terror.
Never leave home without it.
You're in the game, man. You're in control.
You must think like a killer. Cover up any clues. Leave no witnesses, no evidence.
a challenge he can't resist.
It was so real. It was sick.
See, I told you, man. I told you it would blow your mind.
A game he can't escape.
There was a grisly murder in the quiet suburban town of Mount View today.
So you did it.
What was on that disc?
It's not a game anymore.
Hamilton and Hayden.
It's real.
It wasn't supposed to be real.
Real, unreal, what's the difference?
I didn't kill the man. I didn't even know him.
You're in this now. You won't survive on your own. You started this and now you're afraid to finish it just like you're afraid of everything else.
I won't kill her. Shoot her.
Play it. The witness has to die.
Edward Furlong, Frank Langella, and introducing T. Ryder Smith as the trickster. Brain Scan.
I can't wait to see what you do next.
Ooh, weren't those commercial breaks terrifying? Now, let's get back to the Devil's Milky Toast, starring Jan Michael Vincent and a garden hose. And cut.
Man.
I'm like rocking the chairs,
Have you
creaking.
guys ever seen that movie that's playing?
I've never seen it.
I
I've
saw
never
the
even.
sequel.
Devil's Milky Toast 2?
Yes.
I didn't even know.
That one's got Ernest Borgnine.
Oh.
Not good. Not good. So you guys still with us?
Hey, folks.
We're back.
Yes, the Gory Day is back. And now, we're going to talk to you folks about our favorite horror films. The stuff that really gets our juices flowing. Yeah?
So that's what that is.
That's right. Constant flowage. So who wants to go first? This can be like, you know, your faves, but also, I don't know, honorable mentions. Things of that
honorable mentions
No, this
with
is only a
Chris and
2-hour
I.
show with commercials.
Yeah. I mean, what do we want? Do we want to just list them off? Do we want to spend some time talking about them?
I think we can spend,
a snippet.
the stuff that you find, like, you know, you're truly, like, you pop it in no matter what.
Yes.
Like, every friggin' day you could watch it, that type of thing. You
I've
can talk
got-
about
I've
those
got 'em
special, those special movies that you guys have.
All right.
We got some time. It's our show, so we can do whatever we want.
Commercial break's not for a while. So.
Yeah.
We do what we want. Who wants to start?
I think, again,
Ladies,
Carrie.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. All right. Well, we already talked about Creep Show for me. That is one that I can
That's a great
watch
one.
frequently. An Entity, again, that holds a special place in my heart. I'm just going to kind of read off my list here that I got. I'm not going to read them all to you guys because, you know, we have a lot of time, but we don't have that much time. So we're just going to go with my tops here. Dead Alive.
Ooh.
Yeah, Brain Dead. Dead Alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go in order of year or whatever. These are just how they kind of came to me. But I saw that movie as a teenager under a certain set of circumstances.
Oh.
And, you know, I don't know how much I really want to reveal with the audience here, but
Maybe off camera.
my
They're all friends.
my perception of things may have been a little diluted,
Skewed.
a little skewed. And I remember watching that movie, and I'm like,
Holy.
what the hell is this movie? And ever since then, it's 20-something years later, and I can watch it start to finish anytime.
It's a classic.
It is. Pet Sematary 1 and 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I might be in the minority of people that like Pet Sematary 2.
I like to.
I saw it in
But
theaters.
I had a big crush on Edward Furlong, so that really
That I
helped.
can't get behind, but
Oh.
I like to.
As a kid, come on, he was cute as a kid. Now,
yeah,
you know, he's got
he
some
wasn't
little, yeah, he's a true,
Scary.
it's a
Now
true
he-
horror now. His life is a true horror.
He is a creep show.
And I think I can speak for anyone that has seen Pet Sematary 1 in particular as a kid. Zelda,
Still terrifying.
terrifying. When she turned around.
Actually, when I watch that movie, I always leave the room when that part comes on.
Really?
To this
Or,
day.
to this day. Or I put
To this
covers.
day. Christopher
you are-
Singer.
I find that thing terrifying. I don't like the look of it. I don't like, I also go like this.
No.
Oh, 'cause her
I don't even
La,
want to
la,
hear,
la.
Rachel! I don't even want to hear,
And that's a dude.
Yeah.
I know. I just,
Yeah.
you know, and for a while, when I first had River, I couldn't even watch the opening,
Oh.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
I had to continue after.
Yeah.
But now it's just the
So
whole
it's like a
Zelda
10-minute process for you.
thing. Yeah.
Wow, that was a
But
short
I
movie.
love the movie,
Yeah.
you know, but it's just, I just find Zelda
It
just
sticks with you.
terrifying.
Engage.
You know,
I
they're
mean,
remaking that.
Yeah.
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 I got to meet Miko Hughes, I think it was 2 years ago. I wanted to marry that. Like, I still to this day have a crush on him. But it's weird because, well, I don't know. But anyways, I have a crush on him, and I got to meet him and some of the other people in the movie, and yeah, I still smile when I think about it.
Wear these overalls.
I know. Okay with me. So let's see, where did I leave out? Brain scan.
Oh, don't we? Oh my goodness.
Am I going to be kicked off the show?
I'm going to be talking to you about that too.
When I say that I have never seen.
Oh
my God.
Tansky!
It's perfect. It's perfect. I love it.
Okay.
I love that you haven't seen it because it's got to be part of our movie nights.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
yes.
My goodness.
Edward Furlong, right?
Yeah.
Again, with Edward
but
Furlong.
man,
Sensing a theme.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping you like it because
Yeah.
I hope it's not like just a nostalgic thing and a product of its time.
That's gonna be. I'll be interested to see that.
Okay.
If it's a nostalgia thing.
Because I actually really love the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like I could watch that probably every week.
And it holds up because I used to watch it a lot when it first came out, and then a friend of mine, Nicole, we realized that we had a mutual love for the movie, and we watched it into adulthood.
When you find that friend that,
I'm like, wait, what?
And obviously, oh, you like Nightmare on Elm Street too? Also,
Yeah.
It's when you find that friend that's like,
Yeah.
I'm into.
There was a
Ghoulies or
there was a theater in. Have you ever been to the Arnott Mall? Either of you guys? The Arnott Mall. It's in Elmira.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well this
Can't say I
mall.
have.
Growing up in the late '80s, early '90s, there was a theater in the mall, and this theater, I don't know why, but it was like amazing. But this theater would show some of the yes.
Okay.
I mean. You're like, how in the
Garbage
how is
Pail
this-
Kids?
Exactly, exactly. Well, it's the same. It's where I saw Monster Squad, but this theater played Brain Scan. This theater played Leprechaun 2, Children of the Corn
Nice.
2, Warlock 2. Yes, like
Jinx.
it was amazing. It was so cool. So me and my friend Eric would go to the Arnott Mall, and that's where we first saw Brain Scan. We saw it twice.
How did I not see that?
It was gone. It was gone
Yeah,
like
it was-
that. Much like the Monster Squad. It was gone like a week later, but love Brain Scan. I can't wait to show you. And you're right, Carrie. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm right there with you. I'm not even going to talk about it
I'm not
here
even surprised that you are.
because
Oh.
Trickster.
They really know how to decorate this studio.
And you can't, if you've
I
seen
know, how
Brain Scan, you
convenient.
can't look at Trickster without hearing Primus.
oh
I mean, I
well, you'll
can't
see.
anyways,
You'll
yeah.
see. You'll see. Tansky.
So Brain Scan, my gosh, there's just so many. The Gate, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, People Under the Stairs,
Ooh, that's a good one.
Misery.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that as a teenager, and I was like, what? I think some of that stuff scared me too, like,
Well,
what
that's
could really
realistic.
happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, like, monsters didn't scare me so much, but, like, real people scared me. They still do. I would take a monster any day over a real person. Carrie, of course. I was an outcast, and my name was Carrie, so of course I was like,
And they poured
yes,
blood
I
all
want
over
to
her.
Yeah,
burn
those
my
are
high
crazy.
school to
Sorry
the
about
ground.
that, by the way.
And then some more recent ones. I was a fan of House of a Thousand Corpses. It excited me when it came out. It was the first time in a while I'd been
Essentially.
excited.
The nips
Yeah.
got crispy.
Crispy.
Human Centipede.
It's fun. You watch that with a sold-out theater, which I did at the Little, and you riff on it, and you just have a blast.
See,
it's gross and weird.
It was gross and weird, but that is a movie that stuck with me afterwards, because in the final scene, the final sequence where the middle girl is the only one that's left. The guys, I mean, they're both dead, and she's stuck
Spoiler
there.
alert.
Yeah, sorry, if you haven't seen it, this is the end, and it's gonna mess you up.
It's probably best.
But after the movie ended, I sat there for like a solid 5 or 10 minutes thinking how screwed up that was, and how if that was real, how that would be the worst situation you could ever be in your entire life. So it creeped me out, and it stuck with me. And I actually have a Human Centipede doll in my house that while I was married I was not allowed to display. But guess what? I'm displaying it now.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. And then I guess another recent one that I'll mention, Repo the Genetic Opera and American Mary. Have you guys seen American Mary?
So scary. Sisters.
Yeah, where she's a medical student, and she performs body extreme body mods on people, and it just gets out of hand.
Come on.
And she's super cute.
You got a bunch more on there.
I got a bunch more.
You can say them. Do it.
All right, we'll do
Break
it.
through 'em.
Poltergeist 1 and 2.
Love it. I love.
Even 3 for some
Yes,
weird.
I like
I hate
3.
3.
No, it's garbage, but there's this weird.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm a
1
completist.
Yeah.
where his braces start to attack him and wrap him up
Oh,
always
the-
stuck with me. And then
Creature? That's a
the
frightening
chicken.
character too.
The chicken on the table when it was moving, that freaked me out. But Poltergeist 2, Cain,
Yes.
God is in his holy temple. Like, actually, that's going to be one of my tattoos soon.
Oh, that's
I
a
gotta
good,
do it.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. Let's see what else here. Student Bodies,
Oh.
1981 spoof
that's
on
right.
slasher films
Yeah,
with the
that's right.
breather.
Yeah.
Amityville Horror. I actually bought a house on a street called Amity Street
Too scared. to shut up.
because of that. Cat's Eye freaked me out as a kid.
That little gnome. Ooh,
Right?
That little gnome, and then he gets chopped up.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Parents with Randy Quaid. People Under the Stairs, I think I might have already mentioned that.
Yeah.
Dr. Giggles.
So good.
Shadow of the Vampire. May. Those are some of my favorites. The Cell, even, with Jennifer Lopez.
Ooh, that's creamy.
Visually.
That's a creamy one.
But it was the whole concept of, like,
Somebody
someone being in a
over you,
coma.
whacking it.
Right? And being able to explore their mind. So yeah, those are my tops.
All right. That was grotesque, Carrie. Spookalicious.
Where did you get a piece of paper that long?
It's
I
a
can
long
keep
game.
going. This is my summarized list.
Yeah. I wish I did one of those.
You have pages and pages.
No, it's, I actually
This
kept,
whole notebook is
no,
actually
I wish, but I kept it tight.
succinct.
Because we can, I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk
We can riff.
much more about a lot of this stuff, episode after episode. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go into Wes Craven or.
How about you, Jimmy?
I love horror movies that incorporated children. Like groups, like camaraderie. I love like the adventure, like I guess the Lost Boys, for example.
Yes.
Or Fright Night. I also going through a list of horror films. I love vampire movies. I think that might be my genre of choice, not genre, but character of choice. So Lost Boys, Fright Night, Halloween, the original, but I love the whole series. Halloween's my favorite horror film. Freddy's my favorite character, but Friday the 13th's my favorite series. If that makes any sense.
I got you.
What else? Monster Squad. I am drawing a blank.
We can
This
just
is
look around the
terrible.
studio.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Interview with a Vampire? I fell in love with that.
I didn't like that. Oh, I like it.
Yeah. That made me want to be a vampire. I went through a phase where I was
Oh.
14, where I like genuinely, if I could, if someone came down and was like, I will make you a
Oh, that's
vampire,
cool,
I would have
yeah,
been
we
like,
could
do it. But I don't want to live forever. Figured that
No?
out.
Well,
No, I wouldn't want to live forever.
all your friends and family would die.
38 years has been long enough so far.
I want to keep going.
Night of the Creeps is another great one. The Hellraiser films. There's just too many.
Well,
Creepshow 2. I'm in the. I almost feel like Creepshow 2 might be. I like it more than Creepshow 1. Is that blasphemer?
I mean, it's what you like.
Yeah.
Preference.
What else you like?
There's
Come on.
almost there's too many.
Of course, there's too many.
It's exhausting.
Tremors.
Mm.
I was that kid that the next Monday at school, I was like to all my friends, "Did you guys see Tremors?" And they just looked at me like, "What in the hell are you talking about?" John Carpenter is my all-time favorite director. So anything John Carpenter, from The Thing to
Even Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
okay, maybe not that.
Come on.
Maybe not that. But Christine, Big Trouble in Little China. Not horror, but there's horror elements. George A. Romero. Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead. I remember it played at one of the local theaters, and I laughed through it, and I could be heard in the lobby, and they were concerned, but that stuff, like you were saying,
Oh.
that stuff made me laugh. One of my favorite memories is my son in Party City. This kid was wearing this pretty horrific vampire mask, and his mother was yelling at him to take it off because she was worried it was going to scare my son, and he laughed his ass off at it.
That's
And I was
awesome.
like, that's my boy. That is my boy. Trick or Treat and Trick or Treat.
Yes.
That's on my list
Yep.
as well. Both great.
That's, yeah, Sam is one of the most, it's amazing when a film hits you in
Yeah.
the gut. That's modern, because most modern
Modern.
films don't have that kind of impact. And this is one that's,
Mm-hmm.
after 10 years or more, it's still talked about today. Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, Shaun of the that's so good. I guess I kind of put that more in the comedy category. But yeah.
But here's the big question, because I go back and forth. I know you're not a fan, but I'm sure you appreciate it for what it is, but Jaws. I put Jaws, when people ask me my favorite horror films, I never bring up Jaws, but Jaws is my all-time favorite film. I sometimes don't put it in that horror category, even though it's horrific. It's a killer shark. So where do you guys kind of shake out?
As far as Jaws?
Yeah.
I don't think
I know,
much. I don't think much of
but
Jaws
would you
at
put
all.
it in a horror, or I sometimes put it in the action adventure category.
I would put it action adventure.
See, that's my Sophie's choice.
Interesting. I don't know.
There were a few on my list like that where I'm like, I don't know what I really consider that horror.
I think people do.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I think people
that's
do
your
consider it a
prerogative.
horror
Same
film.
with Jurassic Park. That's a
Um,
movie that's like, because that's pretty, that's scary, and when does it fall into that horror
Interesting.
genre? What's in it? That,
I guess it could be. I guess
Gremlins
it
is technically considered horror.
Yeah, I think
I
Gremlins
would
is a
Gremlins.
horror.
And I'm
movie.
like,
It's a
see, and I
horror
think it's
comedy.
a comedy, yeah.
I consider it a Christmas movie.
Right.
All three.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that has laughed in a theater though. Like I think Evil Dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How
Well,
would-
I actually liked the remake. I don't usually like the
remake's
remakes.
awesome.
I liked the remake, and my friend and I were in the theater, and we were hysterically laughing at the part where there's just blood everywhere, and people are like, "What?"
Are you all right?
See, our people. See, our people that laugh at horror movies.
So, but you got like, what are those movies where they are your go-to? I think for a lot of us, certainly for me, I don't want to speak for you two, but I know that like, there's lots of times where I'm in front of my movie collection. I want to watch something, and it takes me about 40 minutes to pick something out. But what are your like go-to? You could watch this any day of the week. You know, it's almost like a comfort food for you, as far as the horror genre is concerned. Like Chris Tansky's like, these are the ones on that shelf that's like, okay, I'm gonna watch this Monday. I'm gonna watch this Tuesday. I'm gonna watch
That's
this
Nightmare on Elm Street for me.
Yeah.
Like any of them. I have the box
Any
set,
of the
and
Nightmare
I
on
just
Streets and
yeah.
definitely Fright Night. This is something where I could put on and not have to necessarily watch it. It's just in the background, and I've seen them so many times that it's just like a warm blanket.
Yeah.
Probably The Lost Boys
Yeah.
and The Thing. And any of the Friday the 13th. They're just, I've seen them so many times, and it's just, I never get bored of those movies.
Yeah.
Halloween 4.
That's
my
that's my second favorite out of the Halloween
That's the
films.
Feldman's in that one, right?
No, that's Friday 4.
Oh, Friday. Okay.
Which is also
I was
great
thinking
too.
Friday.
Halloween 4 was the first Halloween I saw in theater, so that has a special place.
Danielle Harris first showed up.
And she showed up at every convention since. She's
bless her.
always at the
Her and
conventions.
Kane.
Yeah, I mean, we will talk about conventions. That's definitely something we will, get onto as far as a topic coming up.
Not to mention Fangoria. I mean, that
Yeah.
played heavy in
Yeah,
what
I know
Oh,
films
yeah.
a little bit, but
Yeah.
all right. So those are your those are the films for you. All right. like these knuckle knobs, we could go
Knob.
on and on of all the films that we love in the horror genre. But these are some of the ones that I'm going to throw out. Quick, semi-quick, not so quick. First and foremost, everybody knows Fright Night is my favorite horror film of all time. Always has been. Always will be, I believe. That, to me, is a comfort movie.
Mm-hmm.
Could watch it any day of the week and have a smile on my face. If I'm not feeling that good, I want to cuddle up under the blankets, have a little tea or hot cocoa, pop in Fright Night, and it just makes everything all right. Friday the 13th is my favorite horror franchise, but I haven't really been able to say to anybody why when Nightmare on Elm Street, that franchise, is far more complex and entertaining and more fantastical, and there's a lot more elements to it. But something about Friday the 13th
it's just so accessible.
It gets me. It just, I don't know.
Is it because it's so not basic, but the plot is just
it's basic.
Yeah,
it's like
Freddy had this mythos that they worked in that was cool, but
I don't know. Again, I don't know why Friday is like that one little notch above Nightmare for me, but I always go back and forth as they're like one and the same. It's 1 year I can say Nightmare, that franchise is my favorite, and then flip flop Friday. They're neck and neck. 4, 5, and 6, the trilogy within the series for Friday the 13th. That 4, 5, and 6, they're my favorites. Nightmare on Elm Street. 4 or 5. Well, I guess it was 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. The trilogy within that series, I love them. So good.
There's a lot of movies in a series when there's a trilogy within.
Yeah. I love Hellraiser 1 through 4.
Good. I always thought I was alone on 4.
I love 4.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I don't know why people give it shit. I think it's pretty sweet. Child's Play, I love all of them except Seed of Chucky. I can't stand Seed of Chucky. Walked out of Seed of Chucky
You walked out
what
in
the
your
fuck?
own home? No, you saw it in the theater.
Yeah, it was a bunch of us. Actually at a convention.
You walked out?
No, we walked out after.
After
the movie, and
right,
we're this is disgraceful,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. That's my thing's favorite.
But love the others. Leprechaun 1 through 3, I like. I like my cheese, folks. Yeah, I love Class of Nukem High. I love the Toxic Avenger. I think
That's
those
just
are,
another subcategory with the
those are
traumas.
great.
Right.
Trauma,
God.
comedy horror.
Luther the Geek.
I think right below Fright Night for me is a duo, and it's Monster Squad and Night of the Creeps.
Fred Dekker.
The Fred Dekker
The Dekker
duo,
double
the Dekker
feature.
sandwich. Those two movies. I saw Monster Squad in the theater, saw Night of the Creeps on VHS, and then subsequently on HBO all the time. But I think, other than some Ernest movies and the Police Academy films, Friday, Monster Squad, and Night of the Creeps, I watched the most growing up, just constantly. Anytime there was a party, anytime my cousins came over, it was these 3 movies. They're just fantastic. Yeah. Just love them. Love The Burning. And I got even more obsessed probably in my teenage years with The Burning because I got the unrated version on VHS through Blackest Heart Media. And I was able to... Because I was obsessed with Tom Savini growing up.
See, I've never seen The Burning.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Well, that's another one we should watch.
Young Jason Alexander.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to do effects. I loved anything Savini was doing. I loved Scream Greats, the Fangoria video that came out. Was obsessed with that. Read about him in Fangoria. Anything and everything Savini. I wanted to see every movie that he did. And The Burning, he's got some... I mean, it blew my mind when I saw the unrated version for the first time, because the R-rated version that I had seen growing up was... I knew, I was like, ooh, this is supposed to be some crazy stuff, but they're like cutting it. It's like Friday the 13th Part 7 style, like, you see nothing. They cut everything. And then later you get to see what they actually did in Friday 7, and it blows your mind. So The Burning was up there for me. Hammer films. Hammer horror films. This definitely was in my teenage years, probably 14, 15, so early 90s when I first really sat down and watched Hammer movies. And it was because of one of the TV stations. Every now and again they do like these Friday night fright movies.
Chiller
or things like that. And they did a series of Hammer films. And I was just in love with them. I loved the look of them. The colors, the hammy acting.
The blood color.
Yeah, the color that it was like paint. It was like a reddish. It was like so cool. And then later, watching other filmmakers like make movies in the style of the Hammer films was always cool to spot. They're like, well, they're Hammer fans. You could see it. That was always awesome. But like Curse of the Werewolf is my favorite werewolf film. And my favorite Hammer film.
God, I forgot one.
I love Curse of Frankenstein. I love Plague of Zombies. I love Horror of Dracula. Like, some really fantastic... I mean, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing are just dope. They're just awesome actors. These movies, made these guys stars. They were just so cool. So I love the Hammer movies. Let's see. House on Haunted Hill, I love.
Oh,
I think it's so great. I think it's so cheesy, so fun. Vincent Price is fantastic in this movie. It's so short. It goes by that. I watch it every Halloween.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's just so fun, and it still sometimes creeps me out. And it's fun to watch.
Woman?
Yes, and it's fun to watch people when it comes to the old woman part.
Just watching them, yeah.
Yeah, because essentially, it's not a scary movie at all.
Right.
But it's those moments that you can watch, other people find. It still gets them, which is awesome.
She's up there with Zelda almost. She's that. You're like,
ooh, let's see. Okay, Fright Night 2 was a big one for me. Still is today. That was a double feature all the time back then. Lots of people don't like it. I do. I think it's nowhere near as good as the original.
I appreciate it now more than I did back then.
Oh, I loved it back
because
then,
I loved
too.
part 1 so much that
I didn't want it to end, I was oh my god, Friday Night 2! I just couldn't believe it that more adventures.
So pissed that it didn't come out in the theaters.
I know.
I was like,
but man, that was
Menendez brothers.
That was a day one rental for me. Reanimator, I love. Trick or Treat. And Trick or Treat. Both great. I didn't see Trick or Treat widescreen until it came out on Blu-ray.
Oh.
Because it was never really available.
Don't you have some...
Because it was pan and scan.
German version or something?
Yeah, it's great. It's Ragman. It's fantastic.
Right, yeah,
it's crazy to see widescreen for the first time when you've only seen that movie, 4:3, pan and scan. That's how you grew up watching it. The scope is crazy in that movie. Anyway, great movie. And Trick or Treat, it became instant classic. It is just...
Be a great double feature.
With Sam, he became an icon instantly.
Yeah.
I can still remember the first time I saw that movie. It was me, it was Ben Scrivens, it was our friend Travis. We were at his apartment. Finally, after 2 years, the movie was released. Yes, that's what it was. It was okay, let's see, because this movie had hype, and I hate horror hype. I really can't stand it because it's 9 times out of 10 it turns up shit For me, anyway. Like, all these people, like, flipping out about certain movies, and, like, I see it, and I'm like, really?
Fall short, yeah.
So I was afraid that this was one of those movies, because, man, this was getting hype. And we put it in, the lights were down, we had our pizza or drinks, and probably, like, 10, 15 minutes in, we were all looking at each other like,
Holy shit.
This is real. Yeah. Like, this is amazing. And we ended that movie like, this is a classic. This is an instant classic. Yeah. And my God, it's so great. Again, one of those movies that I watch every single year.
Oh,
yeah. Sometimes twice a year because it's so good. Night of the Demons, I love. Night of the Demons is so good. It's a great horror movie and Halloween movie. Angela, come on. I mean, you walk into the video store, you remember that title. Angela.
I was waiting for it.
You know, the cover, the poster art was fantastic. Mm-hmm. You know, Angela's inviting you to a party, you know, the whole Freddy and Jason thing, poking fun at, you know, a lot of posters did that back then.
Sleepaway Camp too.
Yeah, they were poking at Freddy and Jason, and now we're the new horror icons. Half the time they weren't, but it was fun. It was cool. Full moon movies. I really love full moon movies. I did, you know, obviously when you're like in the 80s and you're watching movies like Ghoulies and things like that, you don't know the Charles Band, you know, Empire Pictures, all that stuff. Not until like in the 90s when you're in your teens and you realize, okay, Full Moon was Empire. It was all the same dude. Yeah. So I got so into Full Moon. I was a club, like I was a member. I was a member of the club. You know, I did all that, like a Full Moon club member. It was awesome. But I think we'll do a Full Moon episode. Bad Taste. Bad Taste, I saw in 1989. It was a double feature with Toxic Avenger. I just rented them on a whim. I thought, like, oh, this is crazy.
Cover.
Well, the cover with the alien and that. But also Toxic Avenger. I don't know why I decided that these two.
Oh, they're perfect.
Yeah, it was the first time I saw either of them. It was 1989. Well, Bad Taste had just come out. Toxic Avenger had been there, but I had heard stories from like I can't remember if it was another friend or an uncle who was like, man, there's this gross head-crushing scene in Toxic Avenger, and that might have like, you know, but I did it, and that changed my life, actually, forever, because it was the first time that I saw the type of comedy that I loved growing up in a horror movie, and that was what I wanted to do, was I wanted to bring the monsters into the comedy stuff. Gotcha. So seeing Bad Taste and Toxic Avenger blew my mind. So not only did I, you know, seek out trauma, but I also started to flip for this Peter Jackson guy.
Who?
Peter Jackson.
Oh.
And right after he did Meet the Feebles, which I followed in Gore Zone because Fangoria didn't really cover that, but it was the same magazine essentially, same company. And then later, Brain Dead and so on and so on.
He did this trilogy about like a ring or something.
Yeah, which is fantastic, by the way. Mike Mendez, The Convent. I love this movie. This was a movie that in 2000 I had to import from the UK because I wanted to see this goddamn movie so bad. It's essentially sort of Night of the Demons-ish, but nuns, Adrienne Barbeau.
Oh. You had me at Adrienne Barbeau.
Have you seen this movie?
No.
Oh my God, another one! Another one!
I'm a poser, apparently.
It is Chris Seaver that we're talking to here.
The Convent! Convent.
Oh.
Mike Mendez signed it. Mike Mendez is actually a fan of my crap. And we've exchanged toys and stuff back with each other. But anyway, The Convent's a great movie. It's a fun party movie. My cousin and I, Casey, were obsessed with this movie for when it came out. Well, when we got that bootleg, because it didn't come out for a while in America. But it's fantastic. Love Waxwork.
Oh, yes.
Anthony Hickox. He is a director that I do want to talk about later. Not today, but on a later episode. Because he's made some fantastic movies, and I think he's very underrated. But Waxwork is a fantastic movie. Rented when it came out, it was a unrated VHS. So that was the only really way I saw that movie when I first rented it, and it was unrated. So it was all gooey and gory and magical. I actually really love Waxwork 2 as well, but not as good as the first one.
No.
I love Warlock 2. Warlock 1 is all right, but Warlock 2 does it for me. I think that's great. That's another one I saw in the theaters.
T2 of the Warlock.
You know, Brain Scan we talked about. My God, amazing. But yeah, and John Carpenter is my favorite horror director. Again, I think there are far too many hits than misses in his history, in his filmmaking, catalog, and I just think he's fantastic. He's amazing. He's a genius, and I love John Carpenter.
Get a room.
But yeah, I think we could go on, but again, it's like we have so many. But those are definitely some of the magical ones for me.
I forgot Stephen King's Silver Bullet.
Oh yeah, Silver Bullet's amazing.
And The Descent.
I love The Descent.
Descent is good too, yeah.
Yeah.
There really are just so many.
Yeah, you could, we could do that. Oh, what about this one? Oh, what about
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Crazy. So many.
What's that?
Yeah. Oh no.
We're coming to the end, folks, so we have to take another deliciously ghoulish commercial break. But when we return, will Jan Michael Vincent destroy the garden hose? You'll have to find out.
All right, guys. So we're going to take a break. But we'll be back. Won't we?
Marty Ranson was the dork of Doddsville High.
You get undressed in there.
His classmates laughed at him.
Are you ready?
Here's Marty.
Where's the bench?
They tormented him.
Where's the bench?
And then they went too far. Now, 5 years later, Marty's throwing a little party.
Lights on.
A class reunion.
Come on, you guys, let's party.
They say he still roams the nut house, ever hopeful of that chance to escape, so he can take his evil revenge out on us all.
And he's making sure everyone has the time of their life.
I feel sick!
He's created a romantic atmosphere for rekindling old flames. And a nice place to just hang around. Marty hasn't forgotten a thing. He's giving them a blast from the past they'll never forget. Marty Ranson is still a dork, but tonight he's getting even. Vestron Pictures presents Slaughter High.
Now enjoy your dirty tricks.
Welcome to the world of terror. When I'm not busy embalming bodies, which isn't often, I like to relax with some good family reading. Let me introduce you to my personal library of Fangoria, the leader in horror entertainment. What a fascinatingly hideous cover of Freddy Krueger. And devilishly candid reviews of the latest horror videos. And gloriously bloody color photos from the newest Friday the 13th. They're all here in Fangoria. Can I persuade you to subscribe? Let the dead bodies wait.
we're back from those breaks. Hey, Scary Elizabeth.
Yes?
What do you think of this dump of a movie?
I'd rather be dead than have to watch that again.
How about you, Jim?
I don't get it. What? Good?
Again.
Oh.
That
Well,
was bad, I know.
so that was the Devil's Milky Toast. And this is Stingy Jack.
And Scary Elizabeth.
Jim!
And we want to thank you for watching the Warlock's Dungeon. We will be back next week with another terrifying, shitty movie. Oh, God, my herpes.
Gosh, I couldn't think of anything to say.
I hate that guy.
Pays the bills.
Does it? It gives me a Pepsi.
Still with us?
All right, folks. Now's the part of the show where we just we shill, we promote, we talk about the things that are coming, the things that are awesome, the things that are coming. It's gonna be.
He said
great.
coming twice.
Yeah. So okay, so why don't we let's do a little promotion.
Oh.
Let's talk about Mr. Tansky.
That's me.
Mr. Tansky, he works at a very special magical place right here in Rochester, New York. Why don't you tell him about this magical mystical place, Mr. Tansky?
It is called Fright Rags, and we make horror apparel and
Horror apparel?
Horrors?
Horror apparel?
Horror?
Horror.
Sexy.
Horror apparel, okay.
Horror apparel and accessories like socks, enamel pins. And we have a lot of amazing stuff coming up. Next week, I don't know if you guys know, but Fangoria is coming back.
That's right!
And we're going to celebrate that with 2 shirts, a regular tee and a baseball tee, and then an enamel pin. And the enamel pin looks amazing. It's basically, the backer card is going to be a cover of one of the magazines, and then the pin will be the Fangoria portion.
Nice.
And so it'll be,
Those always sell out real fast, too.
They
the
do.
enamel pins. So if you want one, get one quick.
Yes, it's a nice price point. Also that week, this will air then. But Aliens Day is next week as well, and we're going to be celebrating this franchise of Alien with a retro release. Where I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a children's Halloween costume for Alien. And you got the plastic smock and the plastic mask, but we're going to celebrate that with an enamel pin. There's a theme here. A shirt, and then we're introducing a new line into the Fright Rags lore. It is the mini mask. So it is a small version of the original Halloween costume.
I like that idea.
And then April 30th, it is 6 months till Halloween.
Yeah.
And we're going to celebrate that with, we came up with this idea to take vintage Halloween decorations, but incorporate modern, iconic horror characters.
Yeah.
But then another character that embodies Halloween because of this wonderful scene in the film. But we have vintage Halloween designs of Ghostface, Leatherface, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and E.T., which I'm excited for that one. We got some shirts, some custom baseball tees, and enamel pins.
Yeah, guys, so come on. Check out the site, frightrags.com.
Fright
Yes.
Rags.
They're everywhere. They are the leading horror shirt company out there. I've supported and enjoyed Mr. Scriven's work for many, many years. I've known him for a very long time. He's a magical man with a magical company, and you should really support this endeavor. I mean, they are top notch.
more than half of my wardrobe is fright rags. Craziness.
Except for
So,
now.
what's that?
Except for now.
Except for now? Oh, yes.
Oh, I know.
I mean, come on. There's some great stuff out there, folks.
Yes,
it's
there's
not
many-
just fright
many
rags,
great-
but they're great.
companies.
I was trying to find my Gate shirt
Oh.
from Freight Rags, and I don't know what I did.
It'd be cool if there was some new stuff for that coming out.
But you know what I want, Tansky?
What's that?
I want a Midnight Hour shirt. Bling blang it.
Maybe
Make
we can
Ben
make just
do it.
one for you.
Yeah, just make one for me.
That will be cheap.
Yeah. All right, and as he said before, Fangoria is coming back, folks.
That glare.
As far as I'm concerned, the #1 horror magazine in the world. 1979. I grew up with Fangoria. It did go away for a little bit. I feel that the previous incarnation of the magazine was trying to get back to
prominence,
what made it so magical and what made it so awesome.
It is magical.
And unfortunately, it failed.
Fell short.
But from what I understand, Cinestate, who owns it now, is really trying to bring it back to the roots, what made it so awesome, what made it so rad, and they are launching at the perfect time. This October, they are coming back. You can get a subscription to Fangoria magazine again, and I'm super excited. They've got some old school Fango people on board. Like Michael Gingold is coming back. Tony Timpone is coming back. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for it. They're also, that company, Cinestate, is making films as well. So I know their first film coming out of the gate is Puppet Master.
Oh, the new one, yes.
Yes, the new Puppet Master. They got the rights from Charlie Band. Charlie Band is an executive producer on it. Everything that's coming out of this thing, behind the scenes, all that stuff, it looks pretty cool. So I'm excited for that. So we got that going on.
What else? What else we got?
Let's see here. I want to talk about a couple of Indiegogo sites, folks. We're going to put it up here. There it is. A friend of mine. His name is Ross Snyder. He was actually a fan of my films, and then in classic Sievage form, I pulled him into the films, and he started to become an actor in the film. So for a few years, he was in a bunch of my movies, and he was Ross Snyder. He's great. He's a awesome dude, huge horror fan. But he and William Hellfire, who you guys will know from the Seduction Cinema stuff, from Alternative Cinema, Camp Motion Pictures, all those guys with Mike Rasso.
Is that his real last name?
Come on.
Sorry.
William Hellfire, of course, is his real last name.
That's badass.
Bill Hellfire. Anyway, they are putting together a documentary called Mail Order Murder, the story of Wave Productions. Now, Wave was this shot-on-video film company from the 90s that specialized in very unique films. Basically, you could write... you told the company what you wanted. You could write it, the story, all that stuff, and then they would do it for you for a price.
Really?
But what they did was, it was more so like horror, sex fantasies, and things of that nature. The company was infamous, and you couldn't go to a horror convention without seeing some of that stuff at the tables, certainly at Chiller Theater. But anyway, they are putting together this documentary, and they are very close to their goal. So if you go to Indiegogo, look up Mail Order Murder, the story of Wave.
I wanna pimp that for them. Ross is a great guy, and they're so close, and I think it's going to be really cool.
Oh, nice.
A very obscure niche part of the horror genre.
Niche.
Certainly back in the 90s and early 2000s. And then another Indiegogo that's out there is for the Robot Ninja Ultimate Blu-ray Edition. Robot Ninja was yes, directed by J.R. Bookwalter, who, of course, if you guys know, are SOV fans, his magnum opus that he directed when he was 18 years old, The Dead Next Door, co-produced by Sam Raimi himself, with vocal talents from Bruce Campbell in the film. Anyway, JR is a great man. He gave me a shot in 2000 and began distributing and basically paying for me to make movies for a decade. But JR is one of the pioneers of shot-on-video horror from back in the day. And one of his little turdy little gems, known as Robot Ninja from 1989, is getting the full-on HD crazy treatment. It's actually a 2K scan of the film. It is a vigilante horror superhero movie, very much akin to Darkman.
Oh, nice.
But it's fantastic, and I can't wait. It's out there on Indiegogo now. You're basically paying to have the release done. It's a 3-disc release. So check it out. It's awesome. What else we got here? I think that's it. Are there any movies that you guys are, what's coming out? Anything that you saw recently that like really got your nipples crispy?
That's everything.
Apparently, I like to say.
I finally saw A Quiet Place, and that was, I don't want to give anything away for those who haven't seen it, but it was definitely, I dug it. It's a punch in the gut kind of journey, but definitely worth it if you haven't partaken.
I saw it too. I saw it when I was out in Kansas City at the Alamo Draft House.
Oh.
It was an interesting
Wonderful.
experience. Because they want everyone to be quiet.
Yes.
Okay.
So literally everyone was like trying their hardest to be quiet.
At least they tried.
But like there was somebody next to me who was just like.
Oh really?
Always.
See, I would wait for the loud beats to like quickly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what my friends were doing. They were like, once it got loud, then they.
Yeah. Okay. They should have like a timer, like.
Yeah.
But yes,
but I did like it.
I have not seen it yet, so I'm gonna put that on my list of things to do in the next few days. I think.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It's good. It's good. Okay, well, let's do. Let's talk about the channel.
Yeah.
So, as you see, it is launched. We have all 3 shows now on this here WARLOCK Home Video Network, and hopefully you're enjoying them. And we want to have you guys spread the word. Get out there. Let everyone know if you're enjoying it. That we want those subscribers. We're trying to hit 200 subscribers, and if you do get us to 200 subscribers or more.
What do they get, Chris?
Well. If you comment, you have to be a commenter. You got to interact with us because that's what we want. We want to be able to talk to all you guys, whether it is the Gory Days, whether it's Gourmet Scum, whether it is It Crept from the 80s. We want some comments. We want to interact with the folks who are watching us. We want to know what you're liking, know what you're not liking. Constructive criticism.
Right.
No one be a negative Nancy or your poop out the duck.
I have a fragile psyche, so please keep it nice. To a point.
But so if we get to that magical 200 number or more, as far as subscribers go, we're gonna pick a random commenter, and they're gonna get something special. We're gonna do a fancy little giveaway, and that giveaway.
What are they
Chris,
gonna get?
Tell them what they'll get.
It's pretty cool because this is brand spanking new.
Hot off the press.
Is it a picture of an elephant?
How did you know?
Elephant It looks like an elephant.
So here we go, guys.
Oh.
This is the brand spanking new teaser poster.
Can we drop it down here a little? Drop it down.
To
Drop it like it's hot.
the new Halloween film that is coming out this year from Blumhouse on October 19th.
Yes.
Starring Jamie Lee Curtis. Ooh! Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back to the franchise. So that is the brand spanking new teaser poster, and that is going to go home to one of you lucky commenters on the Warlock Home Video Network. Isn't that special?
That is special.
We're doing a magical giveaway like that.
I know. I was thinking that. I'm like, I'm gonna start.
But man, you win, Carrie. But also, remember, folks, we have a Patreon out there. The Patreon is helping the channel every show, so check that out. You get some awesome, cool little perks for being a patron. Very specific to that. So it's all exclusive stuff. The Patreon is all exclusive stuff. You're not going to see it here. It's only going to be there or for you specifically, whatever tier you pick in the Patreon. So jump on over there to the Patreon. You can find it in the show notes, the link down here. We also got the TeePublic, where you can get shirts from Low Budget Pictures, my films, Warlock Home Video, but also we've got shirts up now that are for the from the 80s, Gourmet Scum, and the Gory Days. They're up there now. There's some in-jokes that are up there, and new t-shirts will be added soon. So go to tpublic.com/lowbudgetpictures. Again, that's in the show notes. You can go to our Twitter, show notes. You can go to our Instagram, show notes. All the links are down there. And our sister site, Shield Maiden Heiress, which is my wife's video game channel. She also is doing some rad giveaways. If you hit those certain subscribe numbers for her, she also will pick somebody in the comments. She just gave a $25 GameStop gift certificate away.
Damn, Daniel.
So check on Shield Maiden Heiress, which here again the link is in the show notes. Join her page. It's all gonna be magical. So that's it, guys. That is the first episode of the Gory Days. We have many more to come. We hope you enjoyed it. I hope my co-hosts had a good time talking about horror. And you guys ready for more?
Welcome to the network.
Yay. Thanks for watching, guys. We're gonna go do some things.